Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be covering the Warlock class in Classic WoW. And what I will be talking about in this guide is the talents that I use at max level, but also when I'm leveling, the rotations, and the pre-raid biz gear. This is my leveling tree and the final result when I hit level 60. And now I'll show you how I do each talent from level 10 and all the way up to level 60. Most of the points that I spent in the beginning is spent into the affliction tree, and then I will also spend a few points into demon. The reason why I prefer the affliction tree is because I feel like that's the fastest way to level. You can easily dot up targets and run at the same time. So you cast your damage over time abilities and you kill the targets when you move from one destination to another. So you don't have to stop and cast your shadow balls all the time, and this saves you a lot of time. In the affliction tree you also get more life drain. So with this, you can drain their life and convert it into mana and keep going. At this point, I start spending points into demonology. In this tree, I get more damage, but also more health with my demons. This will be extremely useful if you try to take down an elite mob. For example, in a group quest, a warlock can sometimes do this by themselves. The reason for this is because you can fear the targets, you can drain their life, and then you have your pet to tank the target. When you get to level 60 and you have started to get a decent amount of gear, you could also respec into the PvE raiding talent tree. With this talent tree, you're mainly going to be focusing on just casting your shadow balls. But the rotation I'll cover later in the video, so stay tuned. If you're more of a PvP player, then the talent tree should look like this. With this talent tree, you have a lot of survivability, but also a lot of damage. You could, however, always play as whatever you prefer. It all comes down to your skills in the end, but with this talent tree, you'll just do a little bit better. Next up is the PvE rotation if you plan to go with the talent tree that I showed you earlier in the video. You'll always start the rotation by either casting Curse of Shadow, Curse of Recklessness, or Curse of the Elements. This all depends on what you're assigned to in the raiding group. So by having 3 warlocks in the raiding group, you could have all these curses at the same time. Next you have to cast either Shadow Bolt or Corruption. If you're allowed to use Corruption and there's enough debuff slots, then you could always use Corruption. Else I recommend you to use Shadow Bolts. And you need to cast a lot of Shadow Bolts because this is going to be your main damaging ability. Always make sure to also refresh your curse and then you get back to Shadow Bolts. If the target is about to die and you don't have enough time to cast your Shadow Bolt, then you could use a Shadow Burn. Just remember that this spell requires a soul shard. If you're wondering about what pet to use, then you have the talent Demonic Sacrifice, so you don't really need a pet. What I recommend you to do is to summon a succubus and sacrifice this, because this will increase the damage of your Shadow Bolt by 15% for 30 minutes. Next up is your pre-raid biz gear. I would recommend you to level up Engineering, because with Engineering you can craft this hit. Or well, with Engineering you can equip this hit, so you could always buy this on the auction house. Most of your gear is collected inside dungeons, but some of it is also crafted by tailors. The chest piece that I use requires you to be a level 300 tailor. The recipe you could always buy on the auction house, but the thing is that when you craft this, it will also become soulbound, so you can't find someone to craft this for you and trade it. Like I mentioned earlier, then most of your gear is collected inside dungeons. But there's not a 100% chance that you will get the correct item. For example, the offhand that I will tell you to get with shadow damage can have a lot of different stats. For example, plus healing or plus frost damage. So this will be extremely difficult to get. Some of your other items is also collected when you do the dungeons, because in these there will be a quest where you can choose a reward. And some of these rewards is your pre-raid biz gear. Alright, so that's about it for today. If you would like to see other class guides, or how I make my gold from level 1 to 60 to make sure I get my mount as fast as possible, make sure to check out the channel. As always, thank you for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.